Hello, in this video we will be creating the U-bracket and we will be introducing you to SolidWorks drawings. For those of you following in the book, we're starting on pretty much page 746. So skipping on ahead, we're going to start a new part and we're going to start a sketch from the top plane. The next thing what we're going to do is we're going to do a construction line because we're going to use a new tool called the dynamic mirror, and you'll see pretty soon what that does. So to create a construction line, if you remember from chapter 4, drop down, click center line, and we're just going to go just like that. And what I'm going to do, because I don't particularly like these floating blue points, I'm just going to click the line and click infinite length, and it's just going to go really big, and that way it's still black with this this one coincident relation with the origin. So next we're going to go to Tools, and we're going to go to Sketch Tools, and you can see there's a ton of stuff in here, but we're looking for Dynamic Mirror, and we select this as our mirror line. Next thing we do is we basically just make the shape of the base. So I'm going to use my line and draw. And you can see that this dynamic mirror tool, as I go, it's drawing on the other side the exact same thing I'm doing. So next we need a tangent arc, so I'm just going to slide back and pop out, which is that shortcut I showed you before. And then come right back, go back to the select tool, select a circle, go back to the select tool, and now all we have to do is start dimensioning it. So this radius is 1 inch, this diameter is 0.5 inches, the center to center distance between these two circles is 5 inches, and the last thing I'm going to do is, as you can see, the only thing it can do is it can move vertically. So I'm just going to take the center point of this circle and the origin, I'm going to make them horizontal with each other, and that's a fully defined sketch. Now we can extrude this up 0.5 inches and get to work on the next feature. The next feature is going to be from the front plane, so I'm going to start a new sketch in the front plane, and it's basically just going to be a circle. Now the book actually does an arc and a line, but I figure it's a little bit quicker just to draw a circle, but maybe that's just my preference. And for those of you following along, we're at about page 757, so we skipped pretty far ahead pretty quickly. But the radius of this is going to be 1.75 because this is a diameter. So I'm just going to multiply it by 2, so times 2. And you can see that you can put a little bit of math in there and it'll calculate it for you. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to extrude the top half of that, and we're going to do a mid-plane extrusion, and that's going to be 2.5 inches. And moving right along, we need to make an extruded cut. And the next up, we're going to draw a rectangle and just dimension that 1 inch, 2 inches, and sometimes I want to select the origin right here, but it's not letting me. It's wanting to go to this line. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to click this drop-down feature menu, select the origin in there, hold Control, and then I can select the line. Okay, so that's a little trick. Sometimes if you want to grab something and you can't, but it's a feature on the feature level, you can just open up this fly-out feature menu. All right, that's fully just constrained. We're going to extrude cut this, and I'm going to go through all. Now again, the book does things a little bit differently, but follow along. Either strategy will end up with the same part in the end. Next up we have a hole, so I'm just going to do hole wizard, and we're going to add the position right here, and it's going to be right on the origin. That's why we made that origin centered in the first place. So it's going to be a straight hole. Go to the drop down, 1/4 inch, through all, and there we go. Very nice. So the book has you change this to 0.75 and then change it back. We've already done changes like that before, so that's not particularly useful. But then what the book does is it wants to show you that if we have a design change where we need to make, instead of this being a horizontal cut, we need to make it a cylindrical cut. So it has us suppress it, and we can see that it is also suppressed the 1/4 inch diameter hole. Now we don't want that suppressed. So if we unsuppress it, so we can see, and the reason for this is they're linked. This original sketch that this hole was on was off of this plane, off the surface. So if we didn't cut it, this surface wouldn't exist, and we would have nothing to sketch the hole on. So what we have to do is we have to change the plane we started and sketch the hole position. So if we open up the hole from the feature menu, we can see these two sketches. One determines the profile of the hole, and the other is the position. So if we look at sketch 5, it's just that one point. So if we right-click sketch 5, we can see we can edit the sketch and add different positions or move it around, or we can edit the sketch plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the sketch plane, and as you can see, we've selected this face. Rather, now what we're going to do is we're going to select the top plane. It's still the same plane, it's just offset, but because we did a through all hole anyway, it'll still go through the entire part. So we select OK. The hole doesn't look different, but now if we suppress this, we can very easily see, well, the hole is still there. So now let's get onto the last part, which is this circular cut. So from the front plane, we're going to sketch, and we're going to sketch a circle of diameter 2.5 inches, and we're going to extruded cut that. Now the book has you just do a mid-plane extruded cut, 2.5 or greater. That's not really the best way to do it. The best way to do it is actually to do through all. You intend for this cut to go through the entire piece of the part, so you should do through all. Now, you'll notice that because we started in a middle plane, if we select through all, well, it'll only cut through half of it. That's why if we check this direction too and do through all, we can do through all both directions. And that just preserves the design intent of the part just a little bit better. And we'll just leave this suppressed for now in case the design changes again, and we're all set. Now the book has us change the names of the features. And now that we've done that, I'm going to save this. And you want to save this where in your Chapter 7 folder, wherever you're saving your parts. I'm just going to save it to the desktop. And I'm going to call this U bracket. So I'm going to hit save. And now what we can do is we can open up a drawing file. So hopefully by this time you've gone through a little bit about the templates, and you hopefully have created your own templates, and it'll save you a little bit of time in this next part. So we're going to go to File, New. And as you can see in my templates, I'm just going to select Drawing Inches and hit OK. And basically having gone through the templates process, it's going to save you a lot of the headache. And for those of you following in the book, we're on page around 771. And if you've done a template, it's going to save you a lot of the work you've done, basically 771 through 775. And we can start pretty much on 776, where we're right away entering the views. So what we're going to do is we're going to X out of model view, which it automatically wants to do. We're going to view layout, and we're going to do standard 3 view. And as you can see, we have the U bracket still open. So it automatically assumes we want to do a drawing of this. If you had closed the U bracket, you can simply go to Browse, find wherever you saved it, and select it from there. And now you can see it imported the drawings. And what we can do is we can select these, and we can change the orientation of the view, we can change configurations, we can change the display the display state so that it includes hidden lines. This is the one we want to select. Now again, if I choose this front view and modify this front view, it automatically changes these subsequent views because that's the nature of an orthographic drawing. They should all be in the same properties. We can change the sheet scale and use a custom scale so that maybe it's a 1:1, well, maybe not 1:1, maybe 1:2, make it a little bit bigger. We can do projected or true dimensions and so on and so forth. And if we hit OK, now we're pretty happy. We can move these and drag these around by just selecting them. You can see that these are limited in the plane. They're projected so that wherever this moves, the top one has to move, but you can change how far they are projected. And what we're going to do now is this is our standard 3 view. So we're going to hit OK, and now we're going to add a sheet. So if we see the sheet, we see the format that that comes from our template, and then we see the 3 views that it brought in. And in these views, we see the U bracket, and then we see all the features of the U bracket, and we can actually select them by feature. So you can see how all of the things you've done in SOLIDWORKS, it remembers it, and you can access it nearly at every stage of the design process. But now what we're going to do is we're going to right-click, and we're going to add a sheet. And in this sheet, we're going to do a little bit different. And again, for those of you following along, we're at about page 78. And this time, just like I mentioned before, if you've gone through the template, it saves you from having to define scales, define sheet sizes, and also go through document properties and change lines, because you would have already done that once when you created your template, and therefore you wouldn't have to do it again. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to click Model View. So again, we're going to View Layout. Now again, if you look up top, you see the tabs are a little bit different. You still have a Sketch tab. You still have an Annotations tab, although oftentimes annotations for dimensioning or for just putting notes. You don't see the Smart Dimension. You see the Smart Dimension in Sketch, but the Annotation Smart Dimension and the Sketch Smart Dimension are a little bit different. So now we're going to go to View Layout. This is where you can import new views and different types of views in your part. We've already done the 3 view. We're going to do Model View next. Again, we want the U bracket. So now we can see, now that's our front view. Now, and you can see that that's our front view, and it automatically wants us to do a projected view. All right, you can see it after we click that, it automatically assumes that, well, maybe we don't want to do a 3 view, but we do want to do projected views off. So if we click up here, and then if you go off diagonal, you can see isometric view. So we're going to click this isometric view, and then we're going to hit OK. And now I can move the isometric view. It is not tied, even though it is a projected view, it is not tied to this front view. These, however, are still tied to each other. And what we can do, and again, you can, if you need to change this, you know, if I make this, if I change the view to a top view, it'll change all these other projected views, and then it'll change it back, and it'll warn me because it's going to want to change all these. And we want hidden lines visible, except this one, we don't want hidden lines visible. So one way we can do that is, you see this display style, it says use parent. That's because this view is derived from the front view. So if we unselect this and just simply do hidden lines removed, now we can get a little bit more of attractive drawing. We generally don't like hidden lines in isometric views except in rare circumstances. That's pretty much basics of the drawing. Later on in the course, you'll learn how to import dimensions and add notes and possibly do more advanced views like auxiliary, or section, detail views. So what we're going to do is we're just going to save this. I'm going to save it right next to it, and now it's just a SLDDRW, SOLIDWORKS drawing, instead of a SOLIDWORKS part. And what you'll be able to see is the real power behind this is, what's going to happen is I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to change this. I'm going to say, well, you know what? We wanted the circular cut. but I changed my mind. I want to suppress it, and I want to unsuppress that rectangular cut. And now I'm going to save this. And you don't have to do this, but I'm going to show you what happens to our drawing. You can see, boom, it's a rectangular cut. This drawing file is linked to the part file, so any changes in the part are automatically updated in this drawing, and any dimensions would change as well. So it's a pretty powerful tool. But that's all for Chapter 7. Chapter 8 will go into a little bit more detail about creating dimensions and annotations and other views for this drawing.